Welcome to Get Busy Living with Total Life Concept. I'm Lauren. I'm a national board certified health and wellness coach.
I'm Soma. I am a family physician.
And I'm Chris, and I'm a personal trainer.
Both of them are also mindfulness instructors. So welcome to Get Busy Living. This is a weekly thing we do. We go live. We answer your questions about wellness and how lifestyle can positively impact your health and health conditions. And today we're going to be doing a really short one, and I think you'll enjoy it. But we're talking about how often we see people really jump the gun and jump to like step 10 before they even start at step 1. And the primary example that comes to mind when I think of this is a lot of questions we get are around supplements. What kind of supplements should I be taking? And a lot of times this is a conversation that should be way farther down the road. The first question is really, what vegetables are you eating? How often are you eating vegetables? Are you eating the nutrients from your food that you should be eating before you're even having that conversation about supplementation? And that's just one example. I'm curious if you have anything to build on that on the food department of examples of people coming to you with questions about food and you're like, whoa, pull back the reins. You need to start back here first. Is there anything you can think of?
Well, one of the things I immediately think of is I get asked an awful lot or told more commonly, I drink plenty of water. I drink lots of water, and they'll show me how many things that they drink of water. But in the initial step is you're going to need different amounts of water based on what you're doing, what your activity level is, how much water you had the day before, all that sort of thing. So giving a fundamental amount that you're supposed to drink every single day, which is what I get asked a lot, how much should I drink each day? You need to go to, you got to start off with water. You need to probably drink 10 to 20 swallows first thing in the morning is what I do. And then you go from there and add more water to that when you need to. So there's not necessarily a direct answer for that.
Staying with that whole water idea, this is a little known fact, but a whole lot of people struggle with fatigue and being tired. Well, the first thing and the easiest thing they could possibly do is if you're 2% dehydrated, you lose 30% of your body's work capacity.
Really? Well, and that's a perfect example of like if someone being like, I'm really low energy, what supplement or what energy drink should I take? It's like, how about some water?
Water.
Start at water.
Yeah, water's ionic. It's like a conduit in your body. When it's lacking, you're lacking conduit. So you're really like operating as a 4-cylinder when you should be an 8-cylinder. And all I gotta do is drink water.
Right.
It's amazing.
So what about in the fitness department? Is there, Chris, a circumstance where you see people jumping way ahead, asking you things about fitness or pain or anything like that is they're missing the whole first step?
To be honest, big time. And that's because the foundation has never been taught to pretty much anybody. And the foundation of the foundation is your posture and your carriage. And then the foundation that we're talking about is the core stabilization first and foremost. And basically there's this thing called the kinetic chain, and everybody ends up hurt because there's a weak link in the kinetic chain, so there's a very logical progression with which people start, or with which people should progress. And if you skip the foundation, it's like building a house. If you build a house without the foundation, you're gonna have a house that collapses.
Right. You might get the house, but then eventually it falls apart.
You might get a beautiful house, but it's gonna
burn to
collapse.
the ground. That's such a bummer.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet you see a lot of people. I feel like people come into the office all the time with aches and pains, to you specifically.
I've got a guy right now that's spent a whole lot of time with conventional lifting. He was doing conventional lifting. He had so many weak links in the chain,
right,
that he ended up down for 2 years.
Oh my gosh!
So
that's a bummer.
Yeah, so we got some foundation to build. I'm like, no, don't do those old things. Because if you do what you always did, you get the results you always got. It's time to start over again.
So basically, it's making sure your posture is good on a regular basis is the first step that you need to take, and you can do that every day. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And building core and. It is like what I'm hearing from you is that there's not necessarily anything wrong with lifting. It's just you have to do these things first. So when you have a bunch of pain, it's not like, hey, is my posture in this lift right? It's wait, do I have the muscles and balance and coordination to support the lift to begin with? Is that what you?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
You can't lift your own body. You have no reason to be lifting weights.
Yeah.
Well, and don't you get asked a lot of questions about like supplements or, things like, I know you've done a lot of work in sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So do people immediately jump to page 17 in that area? What kinds of things have you seen?
It's definitely a variation. I'd say like with sleep, a lot of people have a lot of chronic sleep issues. So they say they've tried a lot. A lot of times people jump right into some sort of medication, over-the-counter medication, but there are a lot of people who do care about their health, so they go the supplement route, and they think a supplement is a better option. Maybe it is, but it's still missing the whole point of sleep hygiene and how's your sleep environment. Also, I would say majority of the people I work with, they're battling with their relationship with sleep and their relationship with their mind. And so most people would benefit from having a daily practice that helps calm their nervous system, which can look a lot of different ways. But I would say, mindfulness, meditation, yoga, journaling, like there's so many different things that people can do first before jumping into supplementation or medication. The thing is, I think a lot of people think it's easier to just take a pill.
Yeah.
But then they find that's not free. There's always a
here's a free thing.
Yeah.
Stop looking at your screen.
Yeah.
An hour before you go to bed.
Gosh, and is that not the truth?
Yeah, definitely.
What about you? I mean, what have you seen just in the medical realm in general? Like, is there anything in particular, health issues that you see people jumping way ahead or mind in meditation?
Yeah. Certainly people come to me a lot with a lot of anxiety, especially now. There's a lot of things to be anxious about. Jumping immediately to medicines. Now, short term, sometimes that's helpful, but most of the time it's not necessarily helpful, and it certainly isn't a long-term solution.
Mm-hmm.
So simple techniques that help you focus on something that isn't thinking, something that isn't anxiety and worry. Because when I actually sit down with people and say, is the worrying helping anything? Is it helping your loved one get better? And the answer is always no. So learning what you can do instead of what you shouldn't do, telling you to not worry, that's just crazy.
People are like, what?
Yeah, just don't worry. Don't do that ever again. No, do something different, like focus on your breathing in and out. Doing something that helps bring you back to now is incredibly important, and not jumping to a medication that may really mess with your sleep architecture. So you might not have had a problem in the beginning, but now you do, because the medicine can cause that sort of thing. So yeah, jumping ahead instead of just the fundamentals, what are we eating? Is what I'm eating affecting my sleep? Everybody knows about caffeine, but do you know that sugar and alcohol have an impact on that? Do you know
marijuana?
Yes, huge.
Yeah, that's another piece.
Absolutely. So really learning the fundamentals of knowing what to put in our mouth, knowing how to move our body, knowing how to use our mind to focus on the things that we do have power over. Those are absolutely fundamental, and what we so believe in this group.
And although you're saying this around like anxiety and sleep, kind of what I'm pulling away is actually maybe all of this Western medical system jumps the gun. It's like you talk about thyroid issues, you talk about autoimmune conditions, you talk about heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, all the most common chronic diseases we immediately are doing a medication, which again is like, wait, did you try what we always say, lifestyle, diet, exercise, stress management?
Well, and that's what we hear all the time is when diet and exercise fail. They don't fail, ever. They've never failed, but we don't get taught how to do that, what to eat.
Properly applied.
Yeah.
We got this thing that we call page 1 in the book of duh. And basically what we've kind of got these things that we call wholesome disciplines down to is they're things that are page 1 in the book of duh that have such far-reaching benefits that they cover so many different isms that people are struggling with right now. And if you could get it all done on page 1, why would you jump ahead to page 10? You know what I mean? That's kind of what this whole conversation has been about. And so we're trying to return people and say that they can get far-reaching things done by just slight, simple choices they make that become habit. And then, boy, that covers so many of the things that people end up needing to be treated for. We're about upstream medicine. Upstream medicine is ahead of time prevention. Downstream medicine is what we've been talking about that we want to get away from. So that's what this conversation has been about.
Yeah.
Nip it in the bud through page 1 in the book of Duh. You know?
I love it. I love it. Well, hopefully this inspired some questions. So if you're watching this after the fact, definitely leave a note. But I love what came from this conversation. And I feel like, we all have a moment to kind of reflect on it. Hey, am I jumping ahead? Have I gone back to the fundamentals? And there's a lot of places to seek those kind of things out, and know that we're always a resource for you too. So thanks for joining, and we'll hopefully see you next week.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you.
Take care.